Right now, you'd probably think I'm she, her, right? Because
Yes.
my tits are out,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm they, them.
Today we're at Miami Pride and we're asking possibly the most simple question, but also the most complicated question. How many genders are there?
An infinite amount of genders out there, whatever that means.
Well, no,
I
it's
think
important. What does that mean?
I really don't know because I feel like I learn a new one every day.
Me too.
Are they all real though?
I mean, I don't think there's like a rigid number. I think it just depends on the individual.
How many?
How many? There's not two genders.
No, I think there are infinite genders.
Infinite genders.
Yeah.
We use the word gender to fit whatever our existence is into our language.
Okay, so
Express
gender
yourself.
for you, gender is an expression.
Yeah, you present yourself to society.
I understand, like when I look like this, that someone's gonna assume I'm she, her, but then I'll just politely tell them.
I thought there was only two, to be honest, but
I think that too.
Just respect how people
yeah.
feel.
You can respect how people feel, but still
Yeah.
know the truth, right?
I am a trans non-binary person.
What-
I
what
use
does-
he, they pronouns.
Okay, can you explain what that means?
No, I can't.
What if I present myself more masculine one day and more feminine another day? Does that mean that I'm gender fluid? Would a butch lesbian, in your opinion, naturally be gender queer or something like that because they are more masculine presenting?
No, I think
No.
that's up to their personal opinion.
I mean, if you want to present yourself that way and you want to say that you're gender fluid, it's okay.
So it has to do. It all has to do with how I'm feeling.
In the society we live in, I find that it is frustrating to have to explain to every single person what it means to be yourself, but I'm constantly shifting, I'm constantly changing, and the way I am is not going to define me in literally probably 2 weeks.
It's an individual experience.
How could we create that individual experience and make it into law? Because law is about the expansion, right? It's not about individuality.
I don't prescribe to being a man or a woman.
It's an internet thing, it's how you present yourself, it's how you want to be treated.
Normalize asking people their pronouns.
It should just be a fluid thing.
Would you call somebody a zizim?
If they say
I don't even
that's
know
what
what
they want to
that
be,
is.
you're
Would you call them that though?
No,
I
wouldn't,
respect
I'll be
them,
honest.
but obviously.
I would not.
Just know that not everyone is the way that you might assume they are.
How do you want to be treated? If I say I want to be she, her, and I want to be more feminine, well, I can be that.
It has nothing to do with how you present to the world and everything to do with how you feel inside.
Yeah, it's your personal choice.
Gender is on a spectrum, and I'm not all the way to the he, him side. I'm kind of a little bit more like to the center.
And
but
you're
I'm
saying
not
you're
right in
saying the
center.
gender expression,
Yeah,
right?
my
But
gender
just because you're feminine, does that mean you're not a man?
No, I'm a man.
Right. That's
I'm
all
a man.
that's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
yeah.
Right,
I'm a
right.
man.
So
I'm-
you agree with
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Miscommunication, around what gender means and even what the term lesbian means these days. People can't even come to an understanding of what those words mean anymore. And the reason I'm making this video is because how can we be fighting for those rights with the external world if we can't figure out what those words and definitions mean internally? If you are not 100% sure, not that you're not, but if you, meaning somebody in general, is not 100% sure and they might never know what they are, how can we expect other people to try to understand us?
I think that it's a constant conversation, and unfortunately, like a lot of things, hard conversations need to be had. Maybe you identify as one thing another day, another as another day, but it is kind of your personal responsibility to communicate that.
Maybe moving away from trying to strictly define for all people something that is always going to have exception is maybe the way that we come to an agreement. My experience of what a term means to me, given my experiences, my background, my feelings, is probably going to be different from the way someone else experiences it.
Removing the idea we have to divide certain things by gender in law would remove the whole debate of do we need how many genders are there and what should we clarify, because if we remove the basis of having that type of socio-cultural factor contributing, there's no need to worry about it in terms of a legal standing.
Right, if it's just a social thing and you want to go by they them pronouns with your friend group or anything, I don't think the majority of us have an issue with that. If somebody is very clearly a man and a male, no matter how they identify, do you think that they should be able to enter women's spaces, protected women's spaces?
Live in a binary world, and so we're constantly trying to find the ways to describe ourselves. We need to give space for people who aren't sure, and you don't have to be sure ever.
Typical man, sometimes I'm a little bit more feminine, and that's okay.
That is okay, but
Yeah.
do you think that means you're a different gender?
I think that gender is on a spectrum, and I'm not all the way to the he, him side. I'm kind of a little bit more like to the center.
Right?
my
But
gender
just because you're feminine, does that mean you're not a man?
No, I'm a man.
Right. That's
I'm
all
a man.
that's what I'm trying to say.
It should be a bigger conversation. Obviously, if this is a cis straight identifying male, then no, they shouldn't be in a queer space. They shouldn't be in a women's space.
How are you the one to decide that though?
I would ask.
I've been going around the whole day and asking people how many genders there are, and no one has really been able to give a concrete answer.
And that's
To me,
everything.
to me that's an issue, regardless of if I think there's 2 or a million. Because in order to be fighting for something as a community or for something that we feel is right, we should be able to, in my opinion, we should be able to define it.
To interact with our community that is incredibly undefinable.
Why do we have to explain ourselves so much? I also don't understand a lot of straight people and the way they work, and cis people, and
I think we need to define ourselves specifically because we're asking for very specific laws to be changed.
Okay, I understand in terms of lawmaking.
But when it comes to lawmaking, and especially when it comes to kids, and not from my opinion, not gatekeeping what the word transgender or gender dysphoria means, that anybody can identify as trans, I think a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, which is why it's very specific to me. It's very important to me to define what gender is, to know a very specific medical definition, because I think there are already a lot of detransitioners, and it's going to be an ongoing thing, especially for young women.
I think it's definitely the far right likes to make it seem like that more than it actually happens. I definitely know some detrans people myself, and
Yes, a lot, yeah.
it's definitely a journey in their own thing. And I'm not going to say every trans person I know is going to detransition. Because
how are we going to gain our rights if we don't even know what we're fighting for?
Right. Or what
we have to figure it out as a community,
Right.
and nobody even knows what any of these mean anymore.
Right. I know I don't.
That's the problem,
I'm
right?
old school. I'm an 80s baby. I know I
So
don't.
am I.